Behold Lagos, where ancient wisdom meets modern ambition, and where tradition dances with transformation. Before colonial powers arrived, this vibrant city thrived under indigenous institutions, guided by hereditary leadership and customary laws that wove the fabric of society through generations. Then came the colonial era, bringing with it new systems of control that challenged the very foundations of traditional governance. Foreign powers imposed centralized administrations and unfamiliar legal frameworks, creating a profound shift in the city's power structure. Yet, beneath these imposed changes, Lagos' traditional institutions showed remarkable resilience. Today, the city stands as a living testament to this complex heritage, where age-old indigenous systems and colonial legacies continue to shape its governance, culture, and identity. This is Lagos' story, a tale of power, preservation, and perpetual adaptation.
Is known as Eko. And when you see people in Badagry, they are going to Lagos. And I want to go to Lagos. So now I say, where are you? As I'm in Lagos State. I always make sure they clear it. You see, Eko, the real name of Eko is Eko, meaning Eko, fish, cashing camp. Is fish meaning. The institution of Lagos, of course, was built around the stool of Oba of Lagos. Yes. Oba of Lagos is a direct son to the Oba of Benin. So there are two Obas in the whole of the world. Oba of Lagos, the father, Oba of Benin, the father, Oba of Lagos, the son. All other Obas has their own, title. Alafia for your name them, they all have their own. And but Lagos is the one that is known as Oba of Lagos, Omonoba of Benin, shortened to Oba. So that word Oba is a Benin language, it's not a Yoruba language. So now, and Lagos for itself has that home, and that home is where the head, the director and custodian of the traditional institution of Lagos, where they stay, is known as Ikadugono. And the first person that really handled that place is known as King Ado. Yeah, he's the Oba of Lagos. And he was in total control. Ikadugono was in total control in 1851, December 26, 1851, when Lagos was bombarded. So there was no Oba in the whole of the place known as Lagos State today. There was none. So Ikadugono controls all those places, and majority of those places that have become settlement today used to be a fishing settlement, not a farming settlement.
In the annals of history, governance has been the foundations of society, shaping destinies and preserving culture. For Lagos, a city steeped in tradition, a pivotal shift occurred in 1851 with the British bombardment, marking the decline of its kingship system and imposition of colonial policies. Once governed by indigenous leadership, Lagos found itself at a crossroad where tradition clashed with foreign rule, forcing adaptation and resilience. Understanding the foundations of local governance today requires revisiting this era of transformation, where traditional institutions either resisted, adapted, or succumbed to new realities. As we dive deeper, we uncover the enduring legacy of this shift, setting the stage for a comprehensive exploration of the foundations of local governance.
The traditional institution is also divided into two. One is the traditional executives, while the other one is the traditional regional executives. I don't know if you understand. The traditional institutional executives are the chiefs, the Oba. They are known as the traditional chiefs. And their head is the traditional head known as the Oba. That is the executive council. Now, the regional or customary chiefs are the heads of the various traditional religions. The Oshogbo, the Okala, the Egungun, the Igunu, the Osun, they have their own traditional heads. And all these heads are come together to become the special advisor on customary matters to the executive councils. So they also, discuss within their own conclaves that they also have executives. The palaces, there are deities that are worshipped every 9 days. So the 9 days allow people to meet. For Senla, they do their appeasement. For Sekekere, they have it, the palace will be open midway.
We also have the Oro Festival. We have the Egungun Festival. We have Gelede Festival. We have Agemo Festival. We have Egungun Festival. And aside from this festival, we have some traditional play like Agidigbo, like Egere. All those things were on ground before the colonial master came. But till today, I can tell you that we still preserve it. We still preserve it. On every 5 years, we celebrate the Egungun Festival here. At every 5 years. So the Egungun Festival, we have to come up here. And in the case of Oro too, we are getting more advanced. Unlike in those good days when Oro Festival is being displayed, you would not, there will be no room for any stranger within the community. There will be no room for female roaming about within the community. And this particular festival take up to 3 months before they round it off. So, but because of the advancement within the community or the environment, this has been limited. We cannot say we are celebrating Oro for 8 months. For 3 months. No, because of the advancement, it has been adjusted to maybe 9 days. You have to celebrate it within 9 days and we conclude it. In this particular period I'm talking about, the institution, that is Oloto institution, will have written to various organizations within, like the school authority, the primary schools, the companies, the hotel, the churches. We have to be written to sensitize them. In some cases, we call on the imam, the bishops, or the referents, or the pastors will be called to the palace to tell them, we are commencing our festival at so day and at so time. So we want you to comply with us. And all along, since my being an adult, I have not witnessed where there is a fight between religious institutions within the Otawood community. So what I'm saying in essence is that before the arrival of the colonial master, this institution was there and is still there today.
The flag of the British was raised up on the 4th of January 1852. That signified the collapse of the Lagos as a kingdom. And he introduced on the 6th, introduced a new ruler of Lagos known as Akitoye. And Akitoye couldn't do anything because they brought him, they installed him. So he began to live on stipends given to them. So he could only get, approval from them to do anything he intended to do because he's being paid salary. That continues until when Akitoye died, his own son took over Dosumu. Excuse me. The same thing continues. Akitoye, Dosumu's son, also took over. His name is Oyekon. Oyekon, after Oyekon also died, when the current brother also took over, his name is Shubai. That is where the political issues start coming in. At that particular time, the British had followers in the name of Ajasa, who also is a cousin to Ishubai. So he was supporting the likes of the British. Abba Macaulay was also on ground, supporting the indigenous people of Lagos. Abba Macaulay is a grandson of Ajayi Crowther. So he had a newspaper. Ajasa has a newspaper pro-British. Abba Macaulay has a newspaper anti-British. Then the British now went ahead to commence. They established a water. What's the name? A water plant in Faiweiju. So pipeline was run through Lagos Island to Ikoyi, and they passed in about 6 outlets to Lagos Island where you can fetch water. Those things are still on the island till date. In 1900, they now asked Lagos to pay for water rates, and the Lagosians said, "Come, we don't need water. We go to Makoko to fetch water that we drink." He said, "It is what his people want. He will follow." That is how the two newspapers began publication, pro and anti, and other people now form a group. The group now became Bobani group and Bajumo groups. The Bobani groups was headed by Abibu Oki. Abibu Oki is also a prince because his own father, Ibrahim Oki, married to a princess of Lagos. So all the princes in Lagos and princesses in Lagos stay behind Oba Ishubai. So they were able to raise money to give the Ishubai when they stopped the salary. And the opposition team, led by Ajasa, had Ali Balogun in his group. Ali Balogun too, because of that, Ali Balogun was given 3 major appointments. The town council appointment as a member, the development council as a member. So he could do whatever he can do at the expense of the Oba and his people. So that group that was formed against the British later metamorphoses to the first political party in Lagos, in Nigeria. So that political party was first named the Muslim Party, political party. Later, it became that NC thing that everybody keep talking about, that Abba Macaulay founded. Whereas it was, Abba Macaulay was just a secretary. The person who founded it handed it over to him. That's the gate for that, a story for another day. Handed it to him on a sick bed. But Abba Macaulay took it over because he grew up here. No, sorry, Abba Macaulay was the one who was the secretary at that particular time. The other guys have died, but in the Azikiwe now joined Abba Macaulay. And when Abba Macaulay was dying, he handed over to Azikiwe. So people thought it's Azikiwe that founded the party. The party was the metamorphosis of the Gbobani group of Lagos that started 1908 until they fought the fight up till 1928 when Ishubai was reinstalled and he died in 1938. So that is how politics, the Lagos people got themselves involved in politics. They were able to stand their ground against the British. And the British realized that, come, these people understand their left from right, because before that time we've had Lagos have had 7 graduates who were doctors and 4 who were lawyers.
For years, a common misconception has persisted that the British brought education and literacy to Lagos. However, this question stretches beyond the borders of Lagos, raising a broader issue. Which European country was truly responsible for introducing education to Nigeria through Lagos? Let's explore this further in the upcoming segment, where we'll examine the historical context and provide a clear understanding.
There have been communication in Lagos, writing communication, physical communication by writing in Lagos as far back as 1500. There are documents to show for it. Kosoko have letters that he wrote dated 1838, 1818. British did not bring education into Nigeria. They gave stories of what they want to do. People have been learning, people have been communicating. The Portuguese has been coming here 200-300 years before the British. So British didn't bring writing, they brought English into Lagos using CMS with the first student of 26. They didn't bring writing, education into Lagos. They brought in their language. Portuguese has been the major language in Lagos. The British came in and changed it. People go as far to Europe to go and learn how to read and write. So they didn't come to teach us how to write and read. They always came to teach us how to write and read English in their language. They came to impose their language on us. And how will you do that if not by creating the school to teach us? And so that is what happened. Portuguese ló ń sọ lẹ́kọ̀ọ́, wọ́n ń sọ Gẹ̀ẹ́sì. Ìgbà tí Gẹ̀ẹ́sì dé, tọ́wọ́n bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe máa ṣe bíi ọlọ́ba lórí ìlú tó nọba tó níjòyè nítorí pé wọ́n níbọn. Ìbọn tó dẹ̀ ní pẹ̀lú gàmbàrí tí wọ́n lò tó ń jẹ́ agbọ́pàá tó di ọlọ́pàá lénìí. It is the Gambaris, the Hausas, those that went to the World War I and World War II. When they returned, they gave them clubs. They beat the hell out of you. They were the ones that were also used to beat the Abekutas to stupor. They don't use gun. It was late they started using guns. They don't use guns. They use ọ̀pá. So àwọn tó ń ọlọ́pàá. It was from there, metamorphosis to Yoruba calling them ọlọ́pàá. Wọ́n ń gbọ́pàá dání ni. Wọ́n wá lo ọ̀pá lórí anybody. Alùtẹ̀, alùrákì. So they did not bring education into Lagos.
With undeniable evidence showcasing the rich political structures, traditions, and customs that define the lives of the people, we now witness the emergence of a colonial political system, pulling the strings of a new order. This shift calls to mind Yoruba adage, we say, "Òrìṣà tó bá lè gbè mí, ṣebí bó ṣe bá mi," which speaks to the clash between the forces of change and the deep-rooted strength of indigenous traditions.
Belief is that there is God. We know there is God, and we have a means of communicating with our God.
But Islam has been in Lagos as far back as 1778, because most of the people that Lagos were giving rooms to were more of the Fulanis who were from Senegal, Mali, and Mauritania. So Islam came into Lagos before Christianity. But there are other religions that have been in Lagos And Egungun religion and Igboho religion were also alien to Lagos. Egungun came in first during the reign of Adiladosu. Igboho came in during the reign of Kosoko. So those are traditional institutions that I don't want us to merge them together. But when they all have their various roles to play. But when the British came in firstly in 1847.
When the colonial master came, they believed with the church, they believe that the best option is to, speak with God through yourself.
Ajayi Crowther make it so prominent because they refused Christianity in Lagos. So Ajayi Crowther had to leave Lagos to the place known as Abeokuta. So Christianity became much more promising and flourishing in Abeokuta, not in Lagos. And that's why you see the first church is in Badagry, the gateway of the British to the hinterland, not in Lagos. The Muslims does their prayer inside because Lagosians are not saying that as one major thing. They have their religion.
The colonial era sowed division among Lagosians, turning them against each other as colonial powers imposed foreign laws upon the people. This disruption sparked strong opposition, ultimately leading to the formation of the first political party. The following slide will dive deeper into how this period of unrest gave rise to organized resistance and shaped the political landscape of Lagos.
According to history, when colonial, introduced tax, the people should pay tax. And the Oloto have been an institution, interface with the colonial master on how they can go about, forcing people to pay this tax. Their involvement is to confuse the government on the payment, because since the government is having a policy, there is no how they can't, go against it. So the only thing the Oloto did there was to talk to the colonial master to bring it down.
Who felt the need to be independent. The tax revolt, when people were being asked to pay water rate, even though it was beneficial to the people of Lagos, they felt before we could be asked to pay water rate, we should be represented in the government. Now, these were unintended consequences, because the moment you begin to educate people, you made them feel that, well, in democracies, there must be representation, no taxes without representation. The elite in Lagos picked this up, and this was one of the reasons why they were against taxation without representation. Now, that is an unintended consequence.
They will arrest some of them with police, and they will lock them. They will force them to do certain jobs. And when they discover that there is no how they could escape it, they just have to pay. Though then it was mega, just little amount of money, but it was money then. Àìmọ̀tàn ló mi pàwórì lóko, àìmọ̀tàn ló mi pàwórì lóko, àwórì ló lè kó dọ̀bálẹ̀ ǹdè, àìmọ̀tàn ló mi pàwórì lóko, àìmọ̀tàn ló mi pàwórì lóko, àwórì ló lè kó dọ̀bálẹ̀ ǹdè. It's so simple. Àwórì owns Lagos.
They own the nucleus of Lagos. That is the truth. The nucleus of Lagos gave back to the outside spheres of Lagos. His name is Ekipa, not Ashipa. So he took the corpse back to Benin. It's a taboo for a second born to be king. It's only the first son. So the Oba of Benin said, okay, no problem. I will make you my own vessel to go, not as a king, but you need to marry your cousin. Ezebo, my own daughter. It is the product that will now become king. That is how it is. Oh.
Brought about the name Awori. So the history informed us that when our father left Ife, coming southward here, he got to some certain area, he got to Sabe in Oyo State. He said he should continue. Wherever they are going, they always consult with their Ifa oracle. And Ifa directs the movement of our forefathers. So when they got there, they said they should still continue until when they got to Isheri. When they got to Isheri, the Ifa said they should prepare a sacrifice on a mortar pot, light mortar pot. They made the sacrifice and they placed that sacrifice on the water until when it gets to Isheri, when the pot sink, and that was where Awori, comes in. Then from there, everybody was moving to his fair direction. Those that goes to the north, to the west, and to the south. And it was Awori that first get to Ebute Meta, Ashogbon side, and what have you.
The traditional institution in Lagos before the British came centered on the king, on the palace. There was a king, and then surrounded by chiefs. And these were the rulers of Lagos at the time the British came. The traditional institutions, over time, as a result of direct British administration, have been weakened. The position of the Oba of Lagos is not comparable, say, with the position of any traditional rulers in Western Nigeria or in Northern Nigeria, simply because in those areas, administration was not direct. The British had to cooperate with the so-called native rulers in order to administer. Whereas in Lagos, they didn't even make any provision for the traditional institutions. They did everything on their own. Even though sometimes they try to, get the traditional institutions to be on board. But most of the time when the British were here, they did not make any provision for traditional rulers. This is why the position of the King of Lagos, the Eleko of Lagos, compared with other traditional institutions in Nigeria, is very, very inferior. They didn't have much power. Up to modern times, when even the Africans now were in charge.
In conclusion, the history of Lagos is one of resilience and transformation. From its pre-colonial roots, the city was a thriving kingdom governed by wise traditional leaders who upheld unity, culture, and strong institutions. However, the arrival of colonial powers sought to undermine these systems, imposing foreign political structures that divided the people and disrupted the indigenous ways of life. This colonial political system brought both conflict and adaptations as Lagosians resisted the erosion of their identity. Education, realizing it was never introduced by the British, became a tool of both control and liberation, creating a tension between colonial ideas and traditional knowledge. Despite these challenges, the spirit of Lagos endured with its culture and governance system, surviving colonial attempts to dismantle them. Today, Lagos stands as a system of resilience with its cultural pride and identity.